Mike Moore Media, the first place to hear Rockingham County news and information.
On this edition of Rise Up Reidsville, I'm talking to Reidsville Police Chief Robert Hassell. Hey, Chief, welcome back.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Always good to have some time with you. And I see some key words in our conversation today, like transparency and community, as you're talking about 21st century policing. Let's talk about transparency. That's a hot word these days, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is. Especially in the climate of our country with relations to police and our community. Transparency is paramount, which, and I think that goes with transparency is what I call trust. Because trust is critical in the stability of, our community, our society, but important for our city and the safety of the people we serve and the criminal justice system.
And accountability is something that we're all concerned about as well.
Yes, sir, it is. Here within the Reidsville Police Department, we have a series of policies or directives, training that all works together to ensure, that we hold ourselves accountable for our actions and our inactions. That accountability, coupled with that training and those policies, ensures that our officers are able to do their jobs, to do it well, to be professionals in which they are.
Sure. We hear a lot about body cameras on officers. Where are we with Reidsville Police Department with that?
We were, I came here 6 years ago, where time goes.
Yeah.
But 6 years ago when I was fortunate to become the chief of police for this great city, I learned that we already had body cameras, and we already had body cameras at least 1-2 years before my arrival. So we've had body cameras for up to 8 years for the city of Reidsville. Every officer within our agency has a body camera. And when we go to the many different incidents and calls for service each and every day and night, those officers activate those cameras to document their interactions with the public.
And that's something that we see on the news a lot, but what's the procedure there when you review those or take a look at those? And do you do that every day or when a particular situation arises?
Well, if there's an incident that arises to a certain level, then the supervisor over that officer will review the body cam video to ensure everything was done properly. But we also have policies in place that instructs each supervisor to review a random number of body cam video and in-car video. We have both, not only body cam, but also cameras in all our police cars. So they have to review a certain number of those video footages each month, just randomly checking. So an incident can trigger, a certain incident can trigger a review. A concern or complaint may be lodged against an officer would trigger a review. But we also randomly review those videos for just to ensure that the officers have followed procedure and followed and interacted with the citizen in the appropriate way. We have also briefly had discussions making changes to look at incorporating a auditor within the agency that will also just look at all body cam video and in-car video across the department on a random basis. So we currently check many video footages each and every month on each officer.
If people haven't looked in a police car recently, the technology that's in there is amazing. We need to do a program on that probably one day, take a police car tour. I want to commend you, your department, Reidsville Police Department, for your transparency and your working with media, because you certainly do an outstanding job with that, and I appreciate that personally.
Yeah, we do our best, Mike, and I appreciate you giving us this opportunity to share some the great things that we're doing here at the Reidsville Police Department through your show.
Let's talk about your community outreach projects, because, wow, Reidsville PD does a lot with that in our community.
Mike, we do sometimes, especially in the summer months, we'll do upwards of 20 different programs or activities throughout the city. And, many times I think, citizens, they hear these titles like the ice pop cool down or the kickball with the cop, or coffee with the cop. But each one of these engagement opportunities, there are awareness pieces that go along with it, especially when we engage with our youth. So like with the ice pop cool down, it's not just a situation or event where we're giving kids ice cream or we're giving them popsicles. We will talk about self-esteem, or we'll talk about peer pressure or anti-gang prevention awareness tips. We always have something educational to talk it when we engage with our youth. And then, other activities like our Junior Police Academy, we have our Summer Youth Camp, the Touch a Truck, our DWI Simulator, Safety Day. The list goes on and on about these engagement activities that we do ourselves, or if a church or a nonprofit or organization within the community, they have a group of kids, or they have some seniors, or they have their organization, they may want us to come in and talk to them about a particular topic, whether it's one of these topics we already have or something that's unique for their organization. If they work with our staff and community engagement, then we'll do our best to come and talk with those individuals about their appropriate topic they requested.
Well, we've been in challenging months here recently, that's for sure. But you're still doing a lot. Look at your Facebook page, and you're interacting with a lot of the community in a lot of ways still, aren't you?
Yes, sir, we do. You brought up something with COVID-19. Our number of engagement activities have decreased significantly, but we still find those opportunities. Like recently, one of my officers, on his own, he saw a young kid who needed an item, needed a bike. His bike was stolen. And on his own, this officer went out and got this young man a bike and presented it to him at his home one day. We take every opportunity when we engage with the youth or engage with our citizens as an opportunity to build trust. And that officer just exemplifies, everything that we're about here at the Reidsville Police Department.
Oh, that's a good story there. That's above and beyond the call of duty, isn't it?
Most definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
And these engagement opportunities that we do, it go far-reaching, more past just these activities I already mentioned. Reidsville has been doing DARE within our schools for 25 plus years in the school systems. Hundreds and hundreds of kids have went through that DARE program. Mm-hmm. So that's an opportunity for us to also engage with those youth in the schools, but it translates to these kids leaving school with a better understanding on how to protect themselves and keep themselves safe and the dangers of those illicit drugs and other things that come with it.
It's no telling how many young people the DARE program has helped over the years, isn't it?
Most definitely. I'm always amazed when I go to a program, and many people in our community know Sergeant Joyce, and I was so blessed. One day I was there shaking some kids' hands and talking to some parents last year, and as I was talking to one young student, the parent saw Sergeant Joyce and said, "Oh my God, how you doing, Sergeant Joyce? You were my DARE officer when I was here in school."
Yeah.
So, it does go far-reaching beyond just the student. It many times go, up to the parents.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Let's talk about another acronym that is new to me, and that's CALM, C-A-L-M. What is that?
It's our a group of citizens that we got together a couple years ago, and CALM stands for Community Advocates, Leaders, Ministers. So that's our committee, and it's from about 30, 35 individuals, different walks of life, that meet with me on a quarterly or sometimes bi-yearly basis to discuss things going on in our community. It's an opportunity for me to share initiatives that the police department is doing, giving them updates, but also initiatives that we're thinking about implementing. And I get feedback from these citizens on these initiatives and programs to help make them better, enhance them in whatever way we think will better serve our community.
So that group is still getting together as well?
Yes, sir, they do. As a matter of fact, I just met with them yesterday to talk about an upcoming activity, hopefully in the next few weeks to a month, to get their support and get their ideas and feedback on how I can make that program better.
Okay, always looking to the future and programs and interaction in the community. Well, we've talked about COVID-19. Give us an update on where we are with that with Reidsville Police Department, Chief.
Well, here in Rockingham County, we're right at that 1,000 mark of confirmed cases over a period of time that have occurred here in Rockingham County. We still have our protocols in place to ensure that our officers are still able to do their job, serve the public, respond to every call for service that we're asked to go to, but to make sure we're keeping them and our community safe by wearing masks and having all the personal protective equipment that the officer needs to do their jobs. So, we constantly ask our citizens within the city and surrounding areas to please just mask up. That mask is more than just protecting you. It also protects your fellow man and woman that's around you. So mask up, protect yourself, protect others.
And those 3 W's still in play?
Oh, always, sir. Making sure we wash our hands, 20 seconds or longer with warm water and soap. Make sure we keep that distance between individuals when you're somewhere in public, like in our grocery stores or in a place of business, and then, of course, wear that mask.
Oh, sure. Yeah, got to do it. Well, we have about a minute and a half left, Chief. These are difficult days, particularly in law enforcement, but if someone needs to know more information, it's easy to get in touch with you.
Yes, sir, it is. Just call our main number at 336-349-1010. Then ask to speak with Chief Hassell, and, of course, they will transfer you to me. And also, I want to just circle back around to COVID-19 for just 1 second.
Sure.
If any citizen, have a concern about, let's say, they see maybe a possible violation of the governor's executive order, they can call that same number. We do have a compliance team in place that does follow up on concerns and complaints filed by our citizens through that team within the Reidsville Police Department.
Okay. Are you getting some of those? Getting those complaints?
Yes, sir. We get a couple. We had maybe 2 or 3 last week. It's not frequent, but we do get a few calls from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Some people are, it's so important, and some it's not as important, and we know that. Give us that number again, Chief.
It's 336-349-1010.
Okay, very good. Well, I appreciate the Reidsville Police Department. How many members in the police department? How many on your force?
We have a total of 56 members of the Reidsville Police Department. 6 are non-sworn admin staff, along with the 50 sworn police officer, which includes myself. Okay.
Well, I want to commend you and the Reidsville Police Department. You are making a difference every day. You're out there protecting the citizens, and you're making such an impact. And you mentioned some of the programs and things that are ongoing and been in place for a while, and looking at some future programs as well. Chief, thank you very much for your commitment, your passion. I certainly appreciate it. We all do.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moore, and thank you for what you do for our community through your radio show.
Glad to talk to you as always, and we'll talk again soon.
Yes, sir. Thank
you. All right, our program today with the Reidsville Police Chief, Robert Hassell. You may want to check out the RiseUpReidsville.com website. Lots of good information there. And to bring it home a little bit more there, the Facebook page for the Reidsville Police Department. And I'm Mike Moore. Thank you for listening.